Next, for a segment produced by our underwriter, please welcome Tom McInerney, President and CEO of Genworth, David O'Leary, President and CEO of the U.S. Life Division at Genworth, and Janice Luvera, Vice President of Marketing at Genworth.
Well, good morning. I recently changed up my routine a little bit and started doing my grocery shopping on Sunday mornings. And I have to say that grocery shopping is one of my least favorite things to do, but my daughter and I, we complained. My husband used to do the grocery shopping, and we complained what he bought, so we decided we should do it ourselves. Anyway, one of the things that I observed while I've been grocery shopping on my new routine here is a woman that she's a little bit older, and I've been watching her also do her grocery shopping. And it's kind of interesting because when I go through, I want to kind of whip through everything and just throw things, I'm very efficient when I do it. And in watching this woman, I've noticed that she takes, for example, an inordinate amount of time to choose the bunch of bananas that she wants to put into her cart, or she has a hard time pulling off, how they have those bags that you can put your produce in. I also know that she keeps a list. I've noticed that, and she's always referring to the list, but yet I run into her backtracking in the store a lot, right? And whereas my list is either in my head or it's on my phone. And then when it comes time to checkout, I can't help but feel for the woman because she actually has a very difficult time pulling her payment out of her wallet. And she's very frustrated with this, and she's always apologetic to the people standing in line behind her, or she's, actually to the cashier, and the woman behind the counter or whatever always says, thank you, you're fine. And this woman that I've been observing over the last several months is my mom. Yeah. And my mom, you see, has moved in with me in the last couple of months, and we have become what I call care partners. And so while she doesn't need the day-to-day care, she does need family around, and she doesn't drive anymore, so she needs people, to do that. And so I'm a big believer in this idea of a ripple effect and how aging impacts everyone, because I'm living it every day. Because now I juggle. I have 2 kids in college. I have my mom, I have my job, I have a husband, and I have a life. And so having my mom there, it started with her, but now it's impacting me, which has impacted my 2 children, and so on. And so, having a ripple effect and the fact that aging impacts everyone is an issue that's near and dear to my heart, because I'm living it and I am the people that we're talking about today. And so I know that it's also, Tom, a really big issue for Genworth, and we're doing a lot of things around it because it's important to us too. So maybe we could,
yeah. And so I would say, at Genworth, we're the largest long-term care insurer in the U.S. and in the world. We've helped over 200,000 families in these severe financial challenges that they have. And everyone has the caregiving stories. I want to just take it up a level and just put some big picture numbers on the table, and maybe put some numbers around some of the questions that were asked earlier this morning. So one, most people know this statistic, that 10,000 baby boomers are turning 65 every day. That will continue until 2030, when the youngest baby boomers turn 65. The more challenging issue, I think, for the United States, both the private sector and the public sector and Congress, is that we will soon be keeping track of how many people are turning 85 every day. The oldest baby boomer is in their early 70s. So in about 13 years, we'll start to keep track of that. There won't be 10,000 baby boomers turning 85 every day, but there will likely be 7,000 to 8,000 turning 85 every day. And 85 is a very important number for a number of reasons. First is 90%, for the average person in the United States, 90% of your lifetime health costs will be the last 2 years of your life. And the other issue, which is very significant, and some of the people on the panel, other panels have talked about this, if you reach the age of 85, and many baby boomers will, you have somewhere, this is a HHS statistic, 40 to 45% chance of having severe dementia or Alzheimer's. And so then the costs of those programs are staggering. We do a cost of care study every year, and it is now the average cost throughout the country for a year in a private room in a nursing home is now $100,000. It is growing at about 4% per year. And there is a rule in mathematics, rule of 72, that tells you based on the inflation rate, how long will it take for those numbers to double, and at 4%, it's 18 years. So that 100,000 is projected to grow over the next 18 years to 200,000, and that's when so many of these baby boomers will be turning 85. So I do think a very large challenge that Genworth is trying to work with Congress, both on the Senate and the House side, because I do think it's the responsibility of families and individuals to plan and save, be ready for some of these diseases in later life. But ultimately, I think the catastrophic coverage, particularly for the severe dementia types of illnesses, ultimately is going to fall on the government and ultimately taxpayers to fund it. And the costs are just staggering. So it's one of the things that we've been spending a lot of time at Genworth with AARP and many others working on these issues. I know, David, you want to talk about some of the products and services we're doing at Genworth.
Yeah, and it's a pleasure to be here. We were actually going to start this, but there doesn't seem to be a need right now with asking folks to raise their hand if they had received the call yet, or if they're anticipating getting the call. And it seems like a lot of people here have already received the call. And the call is, I now need help. And where do I go? And what we are finding in the work that we're doing is that there is no path. It's rather chaotic as to what to do. So at Genworth, we've redesigned our website, genworth.com, and in redesigning our website, we tried to make it very consumer-oriented. We tried to provide consumers with experiential information, as you see here, so that as people start to lose their sight or lose mobility, what should the signs be that people should look at? We've tried to provide them with information about how to start the conversation. We heard from some of the previous panelists that having the conversation is so critical and so important, but where do you start and how do you do that? We provide information on cost of care that Tom mentioned. And cost of care, we've been doing this for 15 years. It's our 15th anniversary. And we take actually a study and we look at every state in the country and we look at the cost of care from home care all the way through nursing home by location inside of every state. So depending upon where you're looking to retire or where the people are that are retiring that need help, you can start to determine what those costs are, and you can also start to project those costs out. Each of you will leave with a commemorative book of our 15 years worth of information that is information for you. In addition to that, beyond the care receiver, we also talk about the caregiver, and there's a study that also goes on that we've had now called Beyond Dollars. And what does it really mean beyond paying for that actual care? What's the impact to the person? What's the impact to the employer? Because when employers are impacted, because employees need time off, there's a cost to employers when that starts to impact them, and really how can those things done? So we bring all of these studies together, we bring all this information together, and we try and present it in a way so that people have a source that they can go to. We're on this journey at Genworth, as Tom and Janice have said. We take this very seriously. It's core to what we do. And we're going to continue to build this out. So in thinking about this, I'm in a situation. I have a dad who's turning 94 on Christmas. He likes to remind me every year I can take his birthday off from work. And so he turns 94. At 78, he lost his wife of 52 years, my mom, and she passed away, but he was her caregiver near the end. And he was young enough that he could still have her at home and take care of her at home. After 3 years of bachelorhood, we got him out on a cruise, and he met a very nice lady. And he married again at 81 years old. She was in Toledo, Ohio. He was in Connecticut, so he moved to Ohio. So I was in Connecticut at the time, so I was a local caregiver for him as an independent person. Now he moves to Ohio, and now I have to become a long-distance caregiver, and there are dynamics with that. He had 10 wonderful years with Ellis. She passed away when he was 91. And the last 3 years, she was in a wheelchair and confined, so they moved into independent living. So now I have to deal with being a remote caregiver. And the funny part with my dad is he retired before computers came into the workplace. He said they replaced him with computers. And so we taught him at 91 years old how to FaceTime on an iPad. When I told him about this conference, he wanted to deliver all of you a message. And the message was he wanted to sit there and we were going to FaceTime him in. Now the challenge with my dad is that he holds the iPad here. And so when I FaceTime him at night, I get to see his jammies, and I get to see the hair noses, none of which are really attractive for this audience. So we did FaceTime with him, but we recorded him. And we want to play you the recording of my dad right now. So this is the message from my father.
Joseph, F as in Frank O'Leary, I am 93 years young, soon to be 94. Right now, I live in Toledo or Ottawa Hills, whichever way you want to call it, Ohio. I've been here 6 years this month. I'm a reader. I love to be outdoors. I sit on the porch a lot. If you have to be in a place, this is a good one. I am delighted that I'm where I am. You got to make these people understand that there's no guarantee in life that when they reach their mature age, we don't use those three-letter words, that they're in a position to take care of themselves. They got to start thinking early in life as a means of taking care of themselves so that they don't become a burden on their kids. There's no way in this Lord's earth that you could ever plan for something like that if you wait until the last moment. Have a conversation, have a plan, and if you need help, call Genworth.
That was
we did. That's right. We did not pay him to say that. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.